Wir sind hier auf der Hobbitcon, wo sich alles um Peter Jacksons zweite Tolkien-Trilogie dreht. Hier sind natürlich Darsteller und auch anderweitig beteiligt an den Film, aber natürlich auch eine Menge Fans, vor allen Dingen weibliche Fans und eine Menge toller Cosplayer darunter. Wir schauen uns alles an. Are you doing a Smog cosplay?
I am doing a Smog cosplay, yes.
Okay, why Smog?
Smog is my favourite. I really like dragons, so basically as soon as we saw him, he was just my favourite and I really wanted to cosplay him.
And I guess you've travelled quite a long way to get here for Rincon.
Yes, I've travelled from England. I flew over a couple of days ago. So yeah.
All for Rincon.
Well, to visit my best friend and to come here as well. Yeah.
Can we see those pretty wings?
Of course.
Ich habe das Gefühl, das Kostüm könnte ziemlich warm sein.
Wieso? Weil sie mir die ganze Zeit zufächelt? Es ist verdammt warm.
Und ich muss auch sagen, man merkt es nicht, dass da eine Frau unter dem Kostüm steckt, bis du was sagst. Ist das viel Arbeit, sich da praktisch dann mit der Perücke, mit dem Bart und allem?
Ich bin heute um 4 Uhr aufgestanden, um jetzt so auszusehen, ja. Es ist doch ganz schön viel Vorbereitungszeit, ja.
Wie reagieren die Leute auf das Kostüm?
Positiv größtenteils, also eigentlich nur positiv, was mich ja dann doch sehr glücklich macht.
Es sind eine Menge Frauen hier, die männliche Charaktere cosplayen. Ist das so im Herrn der Ringe-Bereich üblich?
Das ist im kompletten Cosplay-Bereich sogar üblich, weil einfach prozentual mehr Frauen cosplayen. Und wir können ja nicht nur alle weiblichen Charaktere machen und dann ab und an mal kommt ein männlicher Charakter, oh mein Gott, auf den wird ja draufgestürzt dann. Nee, es ist auch eine schöne Herausforderung. Und manche haben hier sowieso ein recht knabenhaftes Aussehen und warum dann mal nicht? Man ist in Liebe lange Tage eine Frau. Kann man auch mal ein Wochenende Mann sein. Ist auch mal was Schönes.
Die Kostüme sehen extrem aufwendig aus. Ist das alles selber gemacht oder kann man das teilweise sogar kaufen?
Ja, das ist fast alles selber gemacht. Ich muss gestehen, die Brosche habe ich diesmal gekauft, weil wir haben es nicht mehr geschafft zusätzlich.
Bei mir ist alles selbst gemacht über ein halbes Jahr hinweg. Ich habe nur die Armschienen anfertigen lassen. Ansonsten ist alles selbst gemacht und mit sehr viel Mühe und Kleinarbeit. Ja.
Okay. Es sind hier auf der Con eine Menge Frauen, die männlichen Charaktere cosplayen. Was ist der Reiz daran?
Weiß nicht, ich cosplay lieber Männer. Ich fühle mich nicht so zu den weiblichen Charakteren hingezogen.
Ja, ich würde halt sagen, dass im Tolkiens Universum ja eine ziemliche Frauenarmut eigentlich herrscht und da bleibt ja fast nur halt die Elbenfrauen zu machen oder halt ja, ein paar von den Menschenfrauen, aber so ansonsten finde ich halt auch die männlichen Charaktere halt ein bisschen besser, weil sie halt mehr Kraft rüberbringen und halt auch, man kann sich halt mal anders benehmen, als man es sonst gewohnt ist, vor allem als Zwerg dann.
Okay. Wie reagieren die Leute auf das Kostüm?
Unterschiedlich. Also die Schauspieler sind total hellauf begeistert, die haben mich gestern voll anbetatscht. Aber ich liebe die so alle, ich liebe die alle so hart. Und auch viele andere Leute, mit denen ich geredet habe, die einfach eine super Resonanz. Ich hatte so Angst, dass alle so sagen, das Cosplay ist nicht gut. Und jetzt hänge ich hier so.
Was stellt dein Kostüm dar?
Das ist mein Eigencharakter, den ich eigentlich fürs Mittelalter-Rollenspiel nutze, wo ich aber dachte, dass er vielleicht ganz gut hier hinpasst.
Das heißt, man kann so ja, das Rollenspiel LARP verbinden ganz gut hier mit Cosplay auf einer Hobbitcon.
Ja, gerade auf der Hobbitcon, weil alle hier irgendwie gewandet rumlaufen und es dann doch eher passt, als wenn man was aus Anime macht. Also
das heißt, du cosplayst ansonsten auch, aber halt eben eher Anime.
Ja, also alles durch, aber auf Hobbitcon passt man sich doch, glaube ich, ein bisschen dem Stil an.
Es sind eine Menge Frauen hier, die Zwerge spielen, aber du spielst wirklich eine Zwergin, richtig?
Ja, genau.
Aber trotzdem mit einem schicken Bart.
Es muss sein, weil auch bei Tolkien die Zwerginnen Bärte haben und deswegen lasse ich mir das doch nicht entgehen. Und, naja.
Wie ist die Reaktion hier auf das Kostüm?
Eigentlich sehr toll. Also ich bin selber überrascht, dass so viele das Kostüm so toll finden. Weil, also ich habe es ja selber genäht und bin noch nicht mal gelernte Schneiderin. Also ich habe mir alles selber beigebracht und dann kommen so viele an, oh, so beautiful und du bist so schön. Und also ja, das ist wirklich sehr schön.
Jetzt Stephen Hunter, der im Hobbit den Bombur gegeben hat. And thank you for taking the time, Stephen. How are you?
Very good. Thank you very much.
So convention life is treating you well?
Yeah, it's a great time. I love being back here. It's we had such a great time last year. Yeah, so it seems a lot more familiar coming back, and seeing some of the guys that picked us up at the airport and were looking after us during the convention. All the guys that volunteer and are part of FedCon. It's been good to see them and to see all the boys again, because we don't get to catch up that often. We're all parts of the world working, so that's probably one of the great things about doing conventions. We get to see our old workmates again.
So we're really like kind of a company of dwarves, although there were Scotsmen and Kiwis and Englishmen.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, I mean that was, I think, the one lasting thing that we'll get. I mean, obviously being in the movie and being the character, I mean that's something that'll continue for our lives. But I think the really special thing was having, just basically having 12 other brothers, and they're all like brothers. And like any family, there's different dynamics going on. You get, like you're closer to some than others, but there's a real love and affection between all the guys, and yeah, it's really good to see them all again.
And as Bombur, I'm always curious, how do you do that? You have to play this character, you don't get dialogue, and you're in this suit and with prosthetics, and how do you create the character with all these inhibitants?
Yeah, well, it was a challenge, and it was a challenge I relished. I think, I guess I was always taught from my acting coach, who I still do a lot of work with, and he was always tried to instill in us it's about our behaviour, and it's about what we do as opposed to what we say, and I mean that's what I had to do with Bombur, because very early on there was a discussion about whether I was going to have the lines or whether I was going to actually something else was going to go on, if I was going to look at physical things. So that's how it sort of came about. But I'm really glad that I actually got to have all the physical gags. Yeah.
And it's probably physically very exhausting in this fat suit, and then you've got scenes like you have to run up to all the other dwarves, and yeah, of course, lots of running through. Hi.
Sure, yeah, come on in.
Oh, yeah.
Come on in, yeah, here we go.
Yeah, his voice I know, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
So let's all jump in together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello.
Speaking.
To keep you waiting.
Oh my God! Bloody hell! Something's about to collapse.
Okay, in the company of dwarves, we've been joined by Peter Hambleton, known as Glóin.
Yes, that's right.
And by Graham McTavish, known as Dwalin.
Dwalin.
Okay,
Yes.
so I got everything right.
You did.
Yes,
you did.
Great thing.
You did. Well.
You did.
No, it's all right.
Welcome, lads.
Just slide in
Welcome.
there.
Just all
Having
getting
a
very
good day.
intimate over here. Yeah.
Yeah, we've been talking about acting and all those prosthetics, and in his case, of course, also in the suit and everything. But you've been kind of covered from head to toe in prosthetics too. Exhausting, right?
At times, yes, and it takes a long time to get all the gear on. But my God, it looks great when it's all finished. And yeah, there were times, I don't know about you guys, at times I thought I would overheat, dangerously overheat, and all that stuff, that beard stuff can get quite scratchy at times. So some challenges there, but a lot of fun.
Weakness. That's all you're seeing.
Graham experienced no
just
discomfort
weakness.
whatsoever.
It was, yeah. Well, actually, to be honest, the prosthetics never bothered me. The only thing
lying,
that the only thing that was challenging was sometimes with the arms, just manipulating things with the arms, and because the hands, the way they were molded, they would naturally spring outwards. So you were constantly having to flex your hand to make it look as though it was natural, because if you see how someone's hand hangs, it has a natural bend in it. Whereas, so if you were walking around like that, it would look a bit odd. So we were constantly having to flex, and that is strangely very tiring.
Because we had hands, and Graham had. It was only half the arm, wasn't it? It was like the whole. It was like up to the elbow.
It was
pretty
very
intense.
And
Twice the size of the fingers, right? So
Yeah,
I
actually,
imagine
well,
it's hard to
well, my
grab.
fingers, you had particularly fat fingers.
I had sausage fingers.
They
I
were
like
very
that,
fat.
like great big sausages.
Mine weren't too bad. They were. I was able to do most things with that, but you always had to make sure you went to the toilet before you put the arms on. Because then it would all get a bit difficult.
Yeah.
We're not going into specifics.
No, there's no need for specifics, but I think...
On the other... No.
No, not on the other hand. There was nothing on the other hand. It was all
let's not go there.
Yeah.
And I guess you've seen all your fans when you've done the panels. What's it like seeing it? There's an 18-year-old girl and she's dressed up as the same character that I portrayed.
That's actually quite amazing to me. I've seen so many, and the costumes this year are absolutely incredible. There are Richard Taylor said it last night that there are costumes here that are better than any costumes he's seen. I mean, you could put them on and walk onto the set. Actually, they're that good. But it's absolutely wonderful. But what I find so extraordinary is that 90% of people dressed as dwarves are women.
Yes.
Yeah, they're all women.
Yeah.
And all
beautiful beards.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And you think, what is the appeal? What really is the appeal of the dwarves to women? I mean, obviously, I understand why Stephen's so appealing.
Yeah, well, you really brought out the feminine side of
thanks.
Dwalin.
Thanks.
So
I was trying to do that.
I actually saw there was a lady who was here last year dressed up as a bunny rabbit, and we had photos. As
Oh,
bunnies.
yeah, I saw her.
And she's dressed as young Dwalin.
Oh, and she looks incredible.
Amazing.
Absolutely amazing. Yeah. She's fantastic.
Incredible.
The beard detail as well. Because
I sort of said you look just a little more manly this year than last year.
Yeah.
Which was a compliment.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely
obviously.
a compliment, yes.
Yeah, so I'd say, seen from the view of the fans, the dwarves are the coolest characters.
Ah, well, that's nice.
Thank
I like the...
We'd have to agree.
I'm not surprised to hear that. No.
You know, elves are, overrated.
Just a bit kind of namby-pamby, aren't they? No,
I don't think we need to give them any more airtime, really.
It's so Lord of the Rings.
It's so, yes, exactly. It's so Lord of the Rings.
So Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
So back 2000.
Yeah.
Okay, so all of you have had your acting careers before. You've been stage actors and you've been in lots of productions, and now suddenly people are all over you and get you to conventions because of dwarves. Is that fun or is that kind of strange?
Both.
It's very odd.
It's very surreal, but it is a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun, and I think you just have to respect and understand how important these books are in people's lives. This and the Lord of the Rings trilogy, they mean a great deal, and they totally enter that world of dwarves, elves, goblins, whatever. It's having fun.
And it's very rare you do a job. I mean, you do a lot of movies, and it's it could be an original screenplay, or it could be like maybe it could be even an adapted screenplay, but people aren't that familiar with the characters, whereas we're walking into a whole world that people have been following for a long, long time, and there's already a massive fan base. So like you're custodians in a way of these incredible characters, and there's quite a bit of responsibility. And I think Pete's done particularly well because obviously he didn't want them all to look like.
John Rhys Davies.
Already like Gimli. No offence, of course. But he wanted them to be all memorable, and they really were
better looking than Gimli.
Well, better looking, obviously. I wasn't going to say that, but he said it. So
handsome and
yeah.
Interesting.
Although ginger, like you can't. I think there's the ginger dwarf is. There's two this time.
Two ginger ninjas, and really, I think it's time that it was made clear, really, to the world that the other guys are actually afraid of Bombur and Glóin. And dwarves are incredibly brave, but when Bombur and Glóin saunter down into the, when we walk in the bar, the other dwarves.
Well, it's funny because it's a little known fact that we were asked questions about hairdressing, about when do we get time to do our immaculate hair. You know, we're in the river and it's all a mess, and then suddenly it's fine again. And obviously, as well as the mining and the fighting, you know, dwarves are like exceptional hairdressers.
Exceptional.
And like the number one colour, you know, when people go to get to get colours done is usually too ginger in the dwarf world. I don't think many people realise that.
Could I get it too ginger? And the hairdressers say yes, and that's fine. Because are you a natural ginger in it though, or do you dye it? I haven't seen the collar and cuffs, so I don't know.
Huge amount of colour going into the beard, I can imagine.
Yes. Yeah, no, that would take a while. That would take a while. Yeah. Oh dear, sorry.
Okay, now I'm kind of a little bit off track, but still. So he said, yeah, of course, we're a company of dwarves, we're all like a big family, like friends.
Yes.
Was that true?
Oh yes, no, we are like a big a big bunch of sort of overgrown schoolboys a lot of the time.
Totally, yeah.
I mean, you totally went back to school.
Yeah.
I mean, if you remember what it was like at school, that's what it was like making the film.
Yeah.
Exactly like that.
There was always the characters, there was always the ones that got into trouble, the ones that were skiving off, there was the one that always got teased.
Yeah.
Well, that was Mark Hadlow, basically.
We were a class at school, none of the teachers would want to go near us.
Yeah, it would be a challenge to any teacher and it was sometimes like for the poor people that were trying to look after us, like herding cats. Really, it was impossible. Because once just as you'd got 12 of us together, there'd be one that would slip away.
Yeah.
And so they were constantly thinking, where's Aidan? Where is he? Where's he gone?
Exactly. He's got lost.
Where's Peter? Often I have to say, where is Peter Hambleton?
He's in his trailer, just getting ready.
Yeah,
either that or just trying to cool down somewhere.
Yeah, cooling down, a lot of that. And it's hard because like you think that, you know, if you had a schoolmaster that would keep us in line, that'd be fine. But of course, Peter Jackson is the biggest school child of them all.
Of course, and
the biggest practical joker.
Secret dwarf as well.
Totally, he's totally.
Oh, totally.
He absolutely.
Totally. He completely identifies with the dwarves.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, he calls us his little bastards.
Yeah,
yes.
And
that's what he actually.
We're proud.
We've got shirts.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a little bastard.
Yeah.
We would walk on set and he'd say, here they are, the little bastards. Some people would be offended by that, but
it was a term of endearment.
Yeah, it was.
Der Schatz samt Drachen und Arkenstein. Das ist jetzt eher ungewöhnlich zu porträtieren. Warum ausgerechnet dieser Charakter?
Ja, also ich mag Smog als Charakter sehr gern. Es ist zwar der Böse, aber Drachen ist ja immer, habe ich ein Faible dafür. Und ja, ich bin ehrlich, es gibt viele Zwerge, viele Elben, viele Hobbits auf der Hobbitcon, das ist auch schön, aber man will ja ein bisschen herausstechen und der Schatz fehlte dann meistens. Und deswegen habe ich gedacht, machst du halt den Schatz, den Erebor, mit dem Drachen.
Und wie kam dann insgesamt die Idee zum fertigen Kostüm? Ich nehme nicht an, dass du alle Pailletten einzeln aufgenäht hast. Sowas kriegt man schon fertig?
Es gibt fertigen Stoff zu kaufen, ja. Die habe ich nicht aufgenäht, aber der Rest ist komplett selber gemacht. Und ich arbeite auch schon seit November letzten Jahres daran.
Ich wage zu behaupten, dass mit das Aufwendigste an dieser Zwergendarstellung Bart und Haarpracht sind.
Ja, das war am aufwendigsten, das stimmt.
Hast du da selber die Haarteile bearbeitet oder kriegt man schon fertig sozusagen die Charakterfrisur?
Der Unterbart ist gekauft, aber der Rest ist alles selbst geknüpft, so wie die Augenbrauen und der Ansatz ist auch selbst geknüpft.
Muss man da nicht richtig Ahnung von haben, als irgendwie Maskenbildner sein und dergleichen, um sowas hinzukriegen?
Nein, also da gibt es Tutorials bei YouTube und das habe ich mir angeguckt und dann, wenn man es einmal kann, dann geht das eigentlich.
Und natürlich mit Augenbrauen und Nase und dergleichen. Das heißt, du kannst ein bisschen nachvollziehen, jetzt wie die Schauspieler sich gefühlt haben.
Ja, um Gottes Willen, ja. Auf jeden Fall.
Und ich wage zu behaupten, du bist ausgestopft ordentlich.
Ja, genau. Ich bin ausgestopft worden.
Wie ist die Reaktion so auf das Kostüm, auf die Darstellung?
Vorwiegend positiv natürlich. Alle freuen sich, mich zu sehen. Alle wollen ein Foto. Ich bin sonst immer als Magical Girl unterwegs gewesen, also mit kurzen Röckchen und bunten Outfits. Und das ist jetzt was ganz komplett anderes, was ich jetzt hier anhabe.
Und was ist angenehmer zu tragen?
Oh, die Magical Girls.
Ich bin jetzt hier mit Ken Stott, aus dem Hobbit bekannt als Balin. So, thank you for taking the time. And this is your first convention ever, so we're kind of surprised.
It's the first ever. It's the first ever convention. I don't normally do film. I haven't done films that that have been convention films, if you know what I mean. So when I was asked to do this, I thought, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do, because I thought it would be a little bit like a commodity, and I thought it would be very cold, the atmosphere. But of course, I was so wrong. I was so wrong. The opposite is, it is so. Everybody's been so sweet and so adorable. I've had a great time doing it, and I can't wait for the next one.
You said you haven't been doing like convention-like movies, but what
No.
you've been doing a lot is also narrating things because of your very, very great voice.
Ah, thank you.
And I was kind of wondering whether that was the reason why you are doing all the exposition in the films.
I think it became that because, this film, there was no script when we arrived. We didn't have a script. We began with nothing, really. We had the bare skeleton of the story, which, meandered along as the weeks and months went on. And the characters are there. What we see on screen is the product of actor and writer working together, not sitting down for long discussions about it. Although we did have some, not many, surprisingly few. But it evolved in the way that it did because I think they thought, oh, I like that voice. That voice is very good. Let's get more of that. That's how it evolved.
Were the other dwarf actors kind of happy that you had to memorize all the exposition? So.
No, I think they were fine. They were far too busy with doing sword fighting. I, on the other hand, did a lot less because I'm not able to do as much as people like Jed Brophy, for example. He's actually 87, but in fact he looks like 22. I didn't mean that, really. Jed, I didn't mean that.
Okay.
Sorry, Jed. I'm sorry.
We don't have to cut that. So the character and how they were portrayed that evolved from the discussions. Have you been into the Tolkien books? Have you read them before? Have you kind of felt the character?
Yes, I read The Hobbit when you should read The Hobbit, which is around about the age of 11, 10, 11. Yes. 12 in my case, but pretty close. Pretty bad. Well, see, girls. I was going to say girls are usually older earlier. That goes against what I just said, isn't it? Yeah. But no, really. What I read it round about the right age. My father was a teacher. He was an English teacher. So it was literature, and I didn't read Lord of the Rings. He said, "Don't read Lord of the Rings. Read The Hobbit. It's smaller. You'll be finished quite soon. You'll get everything you need from The Hobbit. Then you can move on to Dostoevsky."
From The Hobbit to Dostoevsky. Yeah. But you also...
And back again.
And back again from Dostoevsky. But your character is also one of those that kind of tie the trilogies together, like Glóin, who's in both ones, but you're also in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, but only Dad.
Dad, yes, yeah. It was a very easy part to play.
Mm-hmm. Could we look forward to a special edition like remastered where your ghost appears?
Don't say it, because it'll go into the ether, and Pete's probably listening in somewhere,
Yeah, I'm also wondering what's he going to do next. He did the Lord of the Rings, he did the Hobbit, now he.
Who knows? What am I going to do next? I hadn't a clue. What I will be doing is a thriller 8-part series for BBC, working with alongside Jimmy Nesbitt. We'll be doing a show called Eden, a film series called Eden for the BBC.
And how's that going to be? Going back from of course, before The Hobbit, you had the career with non-convention-ish, let's put it like that, films and things, and now you're going back to the BBC.
I know, it'll be a lonely life, won't it? But when I'll be back, there'll be another convention, won't there?
Yeah, probably. I guess so. For years and years to come.
I hope to be going to the next one.
And if nothing works out, you can do like kind of the life of Balin, King of Mháire.
Yes, I can always do that, yes.
Wir waren bis zum Schluss auf der Hobbitcon und auch die Zwerge, die hier noch unterwegs sind. Hinter uns wird schon abgebaut. Wir haben übrigens nicht nur dieses eine Video von der Hobbitcon, sondern wir haben das auch noch als einen Hintergrund für eine Late-Night-Show benutzt. Und wir haben noch ein sehr ausführliches Interview mit Richard Taylor, dem Chef von Weta-Workshops, das wir aber auch noch mal einzeln hochladen, weil wir es unter anderem zusammen mit Robert Vogel von der Nautilus gemacht haben. Schaut da auch mal rein. Ansonsten tschüss und bis dann.